Hello, Premier. Here we go. A quick roundup of weeks 3 through 5 of the year. As we know, Jime and the Panthers, the number 9 ranked Panthers, defeated the number 4 Eagles 23-17 on an overtime victory. In that game, as you can see, Joe Mixon went nuts with 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley did as well with 150 yards through the air. A big win for Jime, and again, 2 sacks on defense as well, so a huge win there. Gatto ended up beating Rubin, a 30-20 win for the 49ers on that day. George Thomas had 196 yards through the air and a touchdown. Taysom Hill, an off week for him with 2 interceptions, and the Texans' run game just could never really get off the ground. Of course, the rookie Cornfields from Dartmouth with 130 yards receiving and a touchdown as well. And defensively, the Texans did get a few sacks, but the 49ers ended up getting interceptions, which were way more important. AJ defeated Dreaming and the Dolphins 38-14. A huge game. The number 2 ranked Titans and the number 1 ranked Seahawks, and Rod ended up beating Juan late in the game in overtime 26-20 as well. A big win for the Titans and their first win of the season, as Griswold did end up having 2 interceptions, but Chubb was just a little better than Breed on this day, and that really ended up being the difference, as well as Paris Campbell having a lot of receiving yards as well. So the Seahawks dropped to 3-1, while the Titans just try to climb and get to 1-2 with the win. The Redskins and Killen ended up beating John and the Giants 31-7. Royce and the Oilers ended up beating Cliff 24-17 to go to 3-0 on the season. Masoon ended up beating Jake to go to 3-0 as well with a 34-17 win. Tyron ends up beating Nard in a surprising win in overtime. It was a thriller. The Broncos get America their first win of the season, 48-28. Ryan continues his hot stretch at 3-0 as well with a 45-35 win. Jacob continues to pour it on people with 62 points against the Raiders and Khalid. Quinn Callahan, 7 touchdown passes, 397 yards as well. A huge performance from Jacob, as he is living to what he said he would do at the beginning of the season and throwing the ball. APO defeated the new Rams user 28-14. The Colts ended up getting a force win over the Jags. Again, that AFC South. Dez ended up beating Gutta in what was an AF championship rematch. The biggest play of the game was Wilson just overthrowing his receiver. And you can see William Jackson just taking it all the way with great stick work there by Dez. Back the other way, a big win as Dez starts off 3-0, and that's the Chiefs' first loss of the season. Bain had a nice game with 2 touchdown passes, and Rush just struggled with 3 interceptions. But again, Dez is becoming a run-heavy offense, and you can see it as Cohen, 18 rushes for 109. Dorsett had a nice game, as well as Keenan Allen, who was a big pickup for Dez. And defensively, Fletcher Cox has been awake early this season along with Mac Wilson, but Cox 3 sacks, Wilson with 2. Huge performances there from the defense of the Armadillos. So we look at the rest of week 3. You have a big win from Miles over Zach, as the NFC North continues to be very tight race. This was a late win, a last-second field goal by the Packers. A big one there as they needed it. And Zach continues to struggle this season. And Miles looks to try to get back in the postseason now. His second win on the year, and a big one there, as you can see. And last but not least, the Steelers and Elmo end up beating KO. KO now, his first loss of the year as he goes to 2-1, while the Steelers pick up their first win in the season. Josh Allen had a great game with 5 touchdowns, but those 2 interceptions might have cost him, and Dalvin Cook just looked unstoppable. It was one of those games, 163 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Metcalf and receiver Randy Moss, both huge factors in the game, as the Vikings seem to be taking a more aggressive approach through the air, and it has been working for them this season. But this game, the defense just let them down, as they just couldn't get enough big plays to get off the field in this one. Now as we head to week 4, John ends up beating Cliff 27-20. Big win for the Giants. Ryan gets a forced win in a game where he was dominating Gatto, a undefeated matchup. So Ryan goes to 4-0. The 49ers dropped to 3-1. Miles ended up getting a force as well. Dez ends up beating Zach and the Lions. Another tough loss there for the Lions, but this one was a lot because of the defense of the Armadillos, forcing 6 interceptions there from Zach and Sam Darnold. Even though Baynard wasn't great with 4 himself, it didn't really matter as they were able to somehow score 37 points on the board and come away with the big victory in this one. The Texans ended up getting a force win over the Oilers, so Ruben now goes to 2-2. The Dolphins ended up beating the Colts in a good win, and Gutta ended up defeating the Redskins and Killen in a big win, 30-28. The Redskins tried to come from behind late in this one with 21 points in the fourth quarter. However, it just wasn't enough as this game, Wilson was calm, cool, and collected with 2 touchdowns, and Jared Goff just struggled. 5 interceptions on the day for him. This was an interesting game because both players didn't really run the ball a lot, but they ran it very effectively when they chose to run it. As you can see, Balaj, 5 rushes, but 138 and 2 touchdowns, whereas Chase Edmonds, 7 rushes and 108 for him. Darius Slayton was a huge factor for the Redskins coming back into the game with 156 receiving yards, and McLaurin had 95 and a touchdown as well. However, Von Miller just shut the door with Shaquille Barrett and Jacob Martin as they all combined for 8 sacks. Von with 4 of those. A huge win there for the Chiefs as they now go to 3-1 and bounce back from a loss against the Armadillos as the Redskins drop to 2-2. In what was an incredible game between Jake and the Saints. Taryn, here you go. You can see a huge touchdown pass there, and that led to overtime. Nears ended up kicking a field goal and winning the game 27-24. Stafford was amazing on the day with 250 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, and McCaffrey and Grant both went off with 150 yards apiece in a game where both teams found a lot of success running. And of course, DJ Moore, who made that incredible catch, 5 catches, 163 for him, and a big touchdown on the day. Defensively, you can see Rashaan Evans and Anthony Rudolph had a lot of sacks on the game and not a lot of mistakes, as Tavon Young is the only one to pick up an interception. The Raiders end up getting a big win over Merrick and the Broncos, 38-28 in that AFC West battle. In that game, you can see, again, a lot of interceptions for both sides as Drew Lock had 5 picks and Lamar Jackson had 4. Lamar was very effective on the ground with 142 yards rushing. However, it just wasn't enough to overcome the lack of passing discipline from the Broncos, as we are seeing a precipitous drop from both of these 2 teams. So that game might end up being a huge one to determine if either one of these can possibly get a wild card. Again, Beckham and Hopkins, however, were amazing. Hopkins with 230 yards, Beckham with another great game, but defense ended up being the key as the Raiders were just able to get to the quarterback more and get just one more interception. Again, 9 different players getting a pick in this one, as you can see. Kind of a sloppy game from both of these very good offensive teams. Now the Cardinals and Vikings, this was another great game and a big one as KO 2-1 and APO 2-1 try to come up. As you can see, a last second pass as the Cardinals come to tie it, but in overtime, Josh Allen firing in a rope to Metcalf all the way down the field. A huge touchdown, and the Vikings would end up winning 23-17 on the day. APO has become a much more efficient passer, but it wasn't enough to win them this game as Tyree Jackson 164 and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen 145 and 1 touchdown as well. Fournette 98 yards, but the Vikings really kept him hemmed in as both running backs really couldn't get loose in this one, and it became a tighter game. Again, Metcalf, as you can see, 116 yards. Khalif Raymond with 102, both of them getting a touchdown as well. And one of the factors in this one was Cameron Hayward, who ended up picking up 2.5 sacks. And again, neither team really making mistakes as you've seen in other games. So it was a well-played game, but the Vikings end up coming out on top. The Eagles defeat the Monarchs 24-10. And the Seahawks end up getting their 3rd force win of the season. And we had another big game as the Patriots and the Titans played. The Patriots, the number 8 seed. The Titans, the number 2 seed. A big game for Rod as he was 1-2. And AJ looks to continue and try to get to 4-0. It was tight towards the, but this small pass from the run-heavy Patriots ended up proving the difference as Hill ends the game and puts them up 16-6 in this one. Again, AJ told us in the interview what he would do, and he's been doing that. As you see, Winston, not a lot of passes. That small one for 47 yards on the play, but Pollard 136 on the ground with 23 attempts. Braxton Miller 5 rushes and 72 yards as well. And defensively, they were able to hold Chubb to only 29 yards on the ground. Paris Campbell had a nice game with 70 receiving yards, and Ingram with 50 as well. But again, that big Pollard catch at the very end, proving to really end this one. And defensively, Trey Flowers was big, as well as Marquis Lee, as they end up getting 3 sacks. No interceptions in this game. Very well played on that end. And Jacob, yet again, another pour-it-on game for the Ravens, as he continues to toss the ball through the air. 369 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. He did have 3 interceptions, but Whitley Vick, the new Redwoods quarterback, ended up with 4, and that proved to be Week 5, on the other hand, became a week of all-out blowouts, as the Patriots and AJ get to 5-0, shutting out Royce. Big win there for the Patriots, as Royce was 3-1. The Titans end up being the Dolphins 27-9 on the day. Jime ends up defeating Cliff 52-15, and that's what we saw for most of the week. Ryan, a huge win over division rival Zach, as he is now 5-0, a surprise 5-0 for him. The Bills and Nard end up defeating Jake 37-10, a nice win there for the Bills. The Armadillos beat the Steelers 23-8 in a big game, as the Armadillos are now 5-0 as well. The Eagles ended up beating the Raiders in what was a classic game. You should check that one out, 28-17. The Cardinals, another blowout win. This one was 62 points, as Andrew Luck had 5 interceptions, Tyree had 4 touchdown passes, and Leonard Fournette 238 and 3 touchdowns on the ground. The 49ers have continued to impress, defeating the New Rams user and putting up 56 points. A fair sim was won by Ruben. The Cowboys and Masoon, who we will actually be interviewing later today. Big win there as Mahomes, 6 touchdown passes, and Baker Mayfield, the new Giants quarterback, does Baker Mayfield things and throws 8 interceptions on the day. With 69 points there, and of course, Juan, who finally excited that he gets to play a game and not get a force, poured it on Miles. 4 touchdown passes for Haskins. Minshew had 6 interceptions, and as we know, Breida just went off. 250 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns as well. Only 13 rushes, that's all he needed to really break loose in this one. Huge win for the Chiefs and Gutta, as they defeated Merrick and the Broncos in what became a big conversation in the chat last night, but a big one there, and a force win going to the Monarchs over the Redwoods. Now for the players of the week. As you can see, Fournette ends up being offensive player for the NFC and Drayton defensive, while Lamar Jackson went off in week 3. Big week for him, 3 touchdown passes, and Bosa ended up being defensive player of the week with 3 sacks. Now that AFC West, as we can see, they get a lot of stats with trying to get those wins. In week 4, you see Gardner Minshew, 4 touchdown passes and 399. Huge week for him. TJ Watt ended up with 4 sacks as well. So the NFC North showing up on the player of the week. Taysom Hill back on the offensive player of the week, grind 4 touchdown passes for him on the week with 300 yards. And Aaron Donald was defensive player of the week as well. In week 5, you have Breida, huge week again, 250 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Shazier with 4 interceptions was defensive player of the week for the Cowboys. Tony Pollard, 212 rushing yards there and 2 touchdowns. And Jenkins is a Dolphins player again, wins back-to-back players of the week with 3 sacks. Now, as you can see, the AFC North, Dez and the Armadillos lead to 5-0. Jacob right behind 3-1. In the AFC South, the Titans and Ruben at 3-2. lead the division. The Colts right behind at 2-3, and Rod 2-3 as well. The AFC East is a tight race with AJ at 5-0, Nard at 3-1, and Royce at 3-2. And the AFC West, which has kind of been a disappointment this season, Gutta at 4-1, while Khalid at 2-3, and Merrick at a dreadful 1-4. In the AFC North, Ryan off to a hot start at 5-0, KO as well 3-1. Both guys never made the playoffs in that division, so that's very interesting. And Zach at 3-2. I'm sorry, Miles at 3-2. Now the Panthers and Jime cruising again in the AFC South with a 3-1 record and an easy lead. And in the NFC East, Masoon leads with 4-0, with the Birds right behind at 4-1, and Kyle at 2-2. The NFC West, which has proved to be crucial in all of these seasons, Gatto's come out of nowhere 4-1, Juan at 4-1 as well, and APO at 3-2. There are only 4 undefeated teams left, with the Armadillos and Dez, Ryan at 5-0, AJ and the Patriots at 5-0 as well, and Masoon at 4-0 as well. So without further ado, let's get to that interview.
All right, hello Premier. We are continuing with the interviews, and today I have a great guest, one of the best users in the league, ranked number 5 in my preseason fantasy rankings, Masoon.
What's going on?
All right, and this is going to be a fun one. Again, as you know, I'm the Eagles, he's the Cowboys. Nice friendly rivalry we got going on here in the division, and he was great enough to, as soon as he heard AJ be quiet and shit, he was like, yo, let me get in there. I think I can talk louder and be a little more productive. But nah, AJ was great, actually. Happy he stepped up to the plate. And now we got Masoon. So, hey, man, we give the JIT crew a lot of shit, but they're stepping up. They're coming on for interviews. They want to talk.
Yeah, man, we always got a lot to say, seems like.
That is true. That is true. All right, so real quick, I want to start with the, as you guys are describing it, the OG cycle, the original Premier. A lot of people were trying to take credit for inviting you in the league. I was in a league with you last Madden. I forget which one it was, but Juan was in that one as well. Des was in it as well. I was shit talking like always in that league, and I believe we played, and it was always tight games, obviously everything like that. So I've known about you for 2 years, and then I didn't know you knew Des and AJ and them, but Juan would talk about you. I think season 2 or 3. How long have you heard about Premier, and what finally got you to join the league?
All right, so it was shit. We had I was just in my own leagues, and I was watching Diz and AJ, play their leagues, and I originally was hesitant on joining because I don't like to join leagues late a lot of times because I like to build my own team, this and that. And if I came in, I was probably gonna get not so great of a team with a bunch of souped up squads that have had 3-4 seasons to to work on their stuff. So I was hesitant, and then Prod hit me up. No, Prod didn't hit me up. AJ and Dez were saying Prod was giving away a team, and they talked about how good the team was, this and that. So I got them to send a pic of it, and I was like, you know what, why not? So I got into that, and just you know what happened from there.
Yeah, and like you said, Prod, first off, I don't know if I'm gonna let him join Premier next year. Now let me stop. But he is really great at making teams, and then we can get into this obviously a little later as well. But he's great at making teams and then pawning them off to someone who's really good at the game, which means they become a fucking problem in the league all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And Prod, to his credit, he made the playoffs with that team. He actually, I think it was a Wi-Fi issue, so he kind of wanted to just give the team off to someone good. And then rumors were that you were around EA Mason, all the trophies, because you've won, I believe last Madden I heard you won 12 Super Bowls or something in Madden before.
It was last year. It was at least 20.
Yeah, that's
last year. I was everywhere.
I'm gonna make this known. I think I'm a very good Madden player. There is no way in hell I'm winning 20 fucking Super Bowls in one Madden. So well received, obviously, well known throughout the Madden franchise community. Everyone knew, everyone was scared, and everyone's like, why the hell are you giving him this team? And real quick, what about that team? I want to hear from your words. What like enticed you about them? What abilities did they have? Obviously, we know we can't really control it. That's kind of just what Madden made matter more. And
Right.
what did you like about the team that was like, all right, because you knew it was a tough league, but you're like, I think I can hang with this team.
Tremaine Edmonds, man. Like 100% Tremaine Edmonds. I've never seen, and he's a middle linebacker. Let this be known. He's a middle linebacker.
Yes.
And Prod, I don't know how he did it, but he made him the best DN I've ever used in that. Like, I don't get, but that was it. I saw him. I was like, I've never seen anyone do anything like that before. I was like, whoa, like, if he's got him like that, I want to play with him. I want to test him. I want to see what he can do. So that's what stuck with me the most about that team and wanting to play with them.
And I think it was Tremaine and it was Ed Oliver as well, who he built up. The thing is, Ed Oliver is like a D tackle, so like that makes sense. And I think he's a rookie, right? He was a rookie this year.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense that he would be built up, and it was like he was a 99 as well. But Tremaine Edmonds, what happened was that first year, him. To their credit, by the way, because I'm not taking anything away with it, because I could never do some shit like this. But Prod and Juan were two people who just knew. They still do it now. And by the way, I noticed you do it as well in the fantasy, which we can pick up on. But they just blitz the shit out of people, right? And if you get a lot of sacks, you get people in Superstar. And I remember the stat. I think Tremaine, the first season, bro, he had 39 sacks. It made no sense. And so that's how he got to like that level, obviously. So the first year you joined, you're playing. You look like one of you look like the best player in the AFC, right? And I think that was year 4.
I want to say it was 4, yeah.
I think it was 4 if I remember correctly, because Juan won the Super Bowl that year. Yeah, Juan won the Super Bowl that year, but it was week 17, and this is just a lesson for everyone out there. Because we were telling you, we were like, bro, don't do it. And you were like, because I think you just got in, right?
Yeah, I was only in there since like week 12, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And you like one game's easy, got in there, and you had Russell Wilson. You were like, fuck it, I want to play. It was at the point where the game was still really, really fun for a lot of people. I think it's fun now because of quarantine. But I think you could obviously make the case like year 6 and 7, it kind of just, when everyone is a super team, it's not nearly as fun. But it was like really fun, and you had Russell Wilson. And just tell the people what happened week 17.
Oh, that man Russell got hurt, man. I was hurt. I was hurt, but I was like, I know I brought it on myself because I know I don't play week 17 games a lot. But like you said, I was still playing with the team. I was still new to the whole thing, so I wanted to play with them. But now looking back on it, that definitely hurt me for sure.
Yeah. Because to be honest with you, I forget, was that a Jacobs? No. Who made the Super Bowl that year? I don't even remember. I think Juan won.
Juan didn't win the Super Bowl until the next season. He beat me.
Oh, so this might. I think this was year 3 then. I think this was when I won the Super Bowl and I beat Jacob. Pretty sure. Because I don't know exactly. I can't speak on it. I can't remember. I think so, because 4 would be you and Juan, because Juan won number 4. I remember that. And then you won 5 and 7. And I think Des won 6.
Okay. That makes sense.
It was year 3. The AFC was wide open. Nard made a Super Bowl already, and Gutta still couldn't get over that hump. And Jacob had not been to one yet. So everyone was like, wow, he joined this team. He's got a great team. He's going to get in. Then Russell Wilson gets hurt. And the biggest thing I think was, so you played real. And that was, by the way, one of those games where everyone's like, he's still going to be like real and everything like that. But, what happened that game? Because I can tell you what I thought. What do you think happened?
I believe my quarterback was Tyrod Taylor. So Tyrod's still a good quarterback, but I really do remember him missing a lot of throws, and that was because Real's D-line was really good. Like he was getting pressure. He was scaring Tyrod. Tyrod was throwing ducks out there, man. And we played good defense, and it came down to the end, and then I had an interception on Real's final drive that would have sealed the game for me. It was out of bounds by Darius Slay. definitely remember that. And then he scored. So
Yeah, that was one of the. I gotta say, you consistently in the league, you normally have great playoff games. So obviously year 4 happens, and that was the year that Juan had Grant and everything like that. He Grant and the other guy, I forget his name. Played him.
Travis Etienne.
Etienne, yeah. I think Etienne got hurt, but it didn't matter because Grant had 97 speed. Whatever, he was ridiculous, and no one could really stop him. So he won that bowl. But then year 5 comes around, and you get back to the Super Bowl, and you play Dez. And what I think, if everyone's been, the Nard AJ Super Bowl year 1 was great. I think this one, just because everyone had souped up teams at this point, and just you could just feel it almost. It was like the one Super Bowl I remember where I was when I was watching. I was like, this feels like a fucking NFL game. This is kind of stupid. Talk about that Super Bowl, the year 5 one.
I loved it, man. It was just because me. It's no secret. Me and Dez, we play a lot. Through the entire year, we've played a lot of games against each other. We lab together. We do this and that, and that was just where it all came to hit. I don't know if that was the first Super Bowl of the year that we played each other in, but I know it was like probably the best game we played each other in, and it was just fun, man. We both wanted to win that, and the thing that stuck out to me the most after that game, I don't remember who said it to me or said it to us, but in the chats, one of the users was like, they haven't seen like passion like that and like going back and forth, like because we were on the mic, he hadn't seen like passion going back and forth like that, and he doesn't know how long, and it like brought him love for Madden again. I was like, bro, like that stuck with me because I really liked that comment. Like that was. Because you don't really think about that, like how you play or like how you react to a game affects somebody else, like their emotions, like they haven't felt that in how long. But that was a really fun Super Bowl. That was really fun.
I definitely remember it was mic'd up, and it was like one of those things where neither one of you, like there's like shit talking obviously and everything like that, but it was also fun. It was one of the things where both of you guys were like this, it was like almost bigger than like a premier Super Bowl. It's kind of like, and I think you find that obviously the more you're here, there's so much about like pride in this league just because we talk so much to each other, and like that was like pure like both of you guys had skate parks, both of you guys had great defenders. It was like this is even, like we're gonna see who does it, and it was one of the rare games where no one made a mistake even. I forget, I think you sealed it, but it was because like, did Deshaun miss a throw? I remember you had the clutch Russell Wilson play that everyone was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was definitely neither of us really made a mistake. I don't remember if he did make a mistake.
I think Edmonds was just eating, if I remember. Edmonds was
sure. My D-line they started kicking in like the end of the game, fourth quarter. But yeah, like you said, Russell Wilson and that crazy throw was the 3rd down or something like that.
Yeah.
Just that's epitome of a Super Bowl throw. And it just like, it was a good catch. And then not just that, but he still had all timeouts after that throw, so he could like have some stuff to work with. After that, the little sequence of plays after that, it went to 3rd down again, and I had to hit him with something again. I dotted him for the game pretty much, and that's what, because I didn't want him to get the ball back. Who wants him to get the ball back? So I was like, that's what really like sealed it. Because like you could say Russell Wilson was fluke. Nah, I'm not gonna say fluke, but it was a really good throw, lucky throw. You can call it what it was, but the dot after it is what really sealed it to me.
Yeah, I remember because it was 3rd down, and again, everyone knows it's a running Madden. So for you to throw the ball in that situation, I was like, wow, he really hit that. And it was like you were down 2, so you needed a field goal, so you really didn't have to throw the ball, but you were like, nah, this is ending like right now, because you already knew just the way the game was going. It's like whoever gets the ball last is gonna win this game.
And I know Desmond, like you don't want a guy like Dez to have like a game-winning drive, period. But if he only has to get a field goal to win, you don't want to be in that position.
Absolutely, especially because there's a lot. I think there was like 50 seconds at least left. That's like danger zone.
Yeah,
the way he plays offense, he can get to the sideline, he can go down the field quick. So that was like a huge throw. Now fast forward a little bit, year 7. First off, everyone, not just, by the way, not just me. Juan had retired the year before, so that kind of took some sting, obviously, out of it. We were all kind of just worn down at this point. I'm going to be honest with you. I think everyone's kind of like, man, it's about to be spring. This game is starting to get way too hard to play with all these fucking superstars out here. This is like irritating. So people were kind of like saying, oh, this one doesn't count or whatever. In the playoffs, you play Ryan. And I remember a ton of people were watching. We're like, yo, Ryan's about to beat him. What happened in that game? Because it was one of those where I was like, bro, and I think it's another moment for you because you already had that ring and you got it like out of your system early. You can kind of see that other people, it's like there's pressure to it. It's hard, you know? You're in that situation. You're like, I'm playing this dude. And Ryan told me recently he came in at Christmas. So he only saw you in a ring and beat great and make another Super Bowl. And so he was like, I'm about to beat him. And you were in the chat like, this guy's about to beat me. And everyone was like, shit, he's got him on the ropes. What was the score situation and what happened in that game?
Okay, so I love Ryan, man. That man is one of the funniest people I've met all of Madden.
Ryan's great.
I told him before the game, I was like, join the party, man. Let's mic up, let's talk. And so he did. And and he got ball first, and I believe it was like first or second carry, took crib, and I was like, all right, that's Madden 20, you know, it's gonna happen. I didn't score. I either got 3 or didn't score on my next drive, and then he ran again and scored another touchdown, just one play gone.
Yep. And
then basically repeated itself again. By the time I knew it was like 21-0, 21-3, I was like, bro, like this was like, this wasn't supposed to happen, obviously. And so I was like, you know what? I muted my mic and I took the headphones, put them in, and I started listening to music. And slowly but surely I was just like calming myself down because I was getting pissed off. I was slowly calming myself down. I was like, just play, because you know he can't get these one plays, you know, consistently. You know, he can't really pass against you. You just gotta force him to pass. And so I did, and I just kept a cool head, sent it to OT, and won pretty much.
It was one of those games where the second you got down 7 with the ball, everyone's like, Ryan just blew this. Because it was just like, once you're a champion, man, everyone knows you're clutch, and you can just kind of feel it. And I think early in the game, bro, I don't want to say the game, but like, there was a couple plays where it was like, wow, Ryan got a little lucky on that. Like, he got a tipped interception or something. It was like,
yeah,
he had a fumble out of the back of the end. It was whatever.
My wide receiver had double me, and he got a one-on-one interception. I remember that.
Yeah.
In the end zone, he got a one-on-one interception on double me. So that had me a little heat.
And that was another team. I think Prod built that team, if I remember correctly, for a little bit, because the Texans have been moved around a lot, but they had never had a great user, but they did have a lot of great GMs, PMT and Prod. So that team was just souped up. Like he just beat Yard.
I remember looking at that team like, ooh, it was a really, really good team. Like, top to bottom, there was no weak spot.
Yeah, he played Nard, and Nard was like, dude, I don't know what to do, because he would just throw the ball, and just the secondary was just way too fast. So then you get in the Super Bowl, and you're playing yours truly. I had just beaten Dez and AJ. Everyone is all whatever. Hated my playing style. I get to the bowl, and I'm like, all right. Just from my perspective, I'm like, I have to just make this close. And no one had really been able to stop my run. Play against you. I think 9 rushes, 17 yards. The fucking D-line started eating me alive, and I was like, I felt stuck. I was like, after the first couple drives, and I think I missed like a user interception or something, and then you scored a touchdown. I was like, I don't know how I was down 10. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna move the ball. I was like, I have no idea, because he's not letting me run, and if I have to pass, my O-line is just getting destroyed. Right. How did you feel about that game?
All right, so like you said, I went up 10-0. That was off of a bomb. I went up 10-0 off a bomb. Mm-hmm. And then I played defense from there. I didn't have particularly amazing offense in that game. I remember that. But I kept the lead. You know, I agree with you. It was easy with the D line, but it's just it's Madden. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have those players, those abilities. So you just gotta use them. You can't really, harp on them.
Obviously, I'm saying the D line because I was a little salty, but
Yeah.
part of the thing was like Williams. He was running all over everyone. He was clamped. Like I had nowhere to go, and it was just like, what do I do? And I just felt stuck the entire game. And the thing about it was, well, first off, you said it didn't count, and I was like, okay, like it didn't feel like a Super Bowl. I remember that comment. I don't think I forgot that.
Yeah, it didn't. It felt like a regular game to me. Just 'cause, like you said, we weren't like everyone was just sort of meh. Like on final season, it's just like we're just trying to get through it, this and that. Yeah, so it was just like, yeah, it's a Super Bowl, it's a big deal, but it's just felt like a regular game.
Another big part of it too was there was a lot of, obviously, like you say, the chat. Whether people, it's the one chat where I think it kind of dictates the game sometimes. I don't think any other chat that I've been in, the game is the game, the chat's the chat, but this chat kind of like forms how it like operates. If that makes any sense? Just because like everyone's got an opinion all the time, and so obviously with that negativity, and we were just like, we need to do something new, regardless of how we do it. So everyone was like thinking about that. I was commissioned point, so we were all like trying to work that out, and we come up on the fantasy, and you were like, I want in your division, and I'm like, I really don't need this right now because I just had Juan in my freaking division, but okay, because I'm not gonna say no, like, you know what I mean? I don't run from a challenge or anything like that, but I was like, great, that's awesome. So the fantasy starts. You're the Cowboys. When you see the pick that you have, I think you had number 2. What are your thoughts?
I didn't actually see it first. I was in a party with AJ and Dez, and they saw it before me. And I thought they were trolling me because they started freaking out. They're like, or AJ started freaking out, especially because like he was pissed. But like they're both like, ain't no fucking way you got the second overall pick. I was like, you're lying to me. So I went and checked for myself. I saw I had the second overall pick. I was like, I'm getting Lamar Patty. Like I didn't expect to. Which I've never I've done probably like 5 or 6 fantasy drafts this Madden. I've never gotten close to a top 5 pick. So I was really, because I was mainly, when you're doing fantasy drafts, you want the middle picks so you get a more balanced, well-rounded team. But for the first time getting a top 5, top 3 pick, it's like, you getting a superstar with that. So I'll gladly take it.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. My first thought was, this fucking game loves the Cowboys, and it's ridiculous. I was like, what? I was like, what is this? Like, I'm like, I gotta play a user who, by the way, real quick, because I didn't talk about it. The only people to win 2 Super Bowls in their first full cycle in Premier are Dunn, Juan, you, and Dez. Just to let you know, and no one's ever won 2 without joining in the beginning, if that makes sense. Because Juan joined toward the middle in his first run, and his team just wasn't there, right?
Right.
So, like, you were already in rarefied air. Everyone's like, this guy's, like, next up. And I'm like, great. And now I got to play Mahomes and shit. And I was like, well, at least somehow Khalil Mack fell to me. And I was like, I have something at least that can kind of counter. So, that first season, we both go 14-2, both in the playoffs. You get all the way to the conference championship game. The first 2 games, I believe. Who did you play? Because I remember it just being kind of easy for you to get there.
I played Zach in the wild card.
Yeah.
And who did I play? I played Zach in the wild card, and I believe it was Jime in the divisional round.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on, and I beat them both and went on to play April.
That game. Tell us what happened. It was a great game.
It was, man. I'm kind of mad with how I played him, because there was times where I would have him on 3rd and long, and I would he converted 2 3rd and longs in that game. I remember that he 3rd and 15 plus. I let him convert, and that's you can say he got an ag here and there, he got a long run. That's what lost me the game, because I didn't capitalize on him having to pass, because you want April to pass. I didn't capitalize on him having to pass, and I didn't I didn't get the ball back in that situation. So that's where I really like beat myself up on, because I take pride in like good defense, and I just didn't play it against him.
There was that interesting decision late in the game.
Yeah, the I don't want to go to OT. Let me let me go to the end zone with this. Yeah, I don't like OT. I just, especially if I'm like close to scoring, I don't want to settle. And it's a championship game. I want to go all out. So I was just thinking about it for a second. Now I was like, I'm just gonna go for this, because like if he gets the ball first and going into OT, he's gonna waste a whole lot of clock, this and that. I know, like, I realized after the fact that you can't like waste the whole clock and not get the ball back. So I would have to just stop from scoring like I normally do. But I wasn't thinking about that in the situation. I just didn't want to go to OT. I called the play, and I got what I wanted. Like, I got the exact look I wanted. It was open. It was an open throw. I've shown it. I've shown it in chat. I've got the screenshot. The back of the end zone dig was wide open, and he got Cameron Hayward busting right up the middle, perfect shed, and I wasn't prepared for that, and I couldn't get the ball off in time because I had it, and he just, good D-line play got me.
I remember. Send that to me, by the way, because I'm going to use that. But I do remember Cameron Hayward, because APO got him like around the middle of the season. And I don't think anyone really paid attention how big that was, but he already had a great pass rush. And Hayward, again, did the same shit to me, by the way. He just completely, like, I think it was fourth down. He just came right up the middle, and I was like, what the hell? Like, every big-time play. I think he had, like, 3 sacks against you, right? And it's just so frustrating because he's, like, instant shedding, and he's, like, fast enough because he's, like, right in your face. You can't really do anything with it. And the way – and I remember that last play because he just instant shedded you so fast. And I was like, oh, my God, this man Hayward just won the game. Like, because you didn't even have time to roll out one way or another. It was like instant, and it was like on the ground.
It was so instant, because normally I'm good at like sensing if like I'm getting shaded, I can like somewhat maneuver around. But in that situation, I was so hyped up because I saw, like, I had the throw that I wanted. I saw it was open. I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, this is the dot for the game. And then next thing I know, I look down and Mahomes is down on the ground with Cameron Hayward on him.
Yeah, it had to be like a second and a half. Like, that ass. You called hike. You pressed X and dude was on the ground. I was like, oh my God. Like, on fourth down too. It was like it was almost like weirdly anticlimactic. I like stopped and I was like, did that just fucking happen? Because I'm watching, I'm hoping you don't get to the Super Bowl. I'm like, man, if he gets to the Super Bowl after I swept him, I'm gonna be mad.
Obviously.
So now we get to year 2, right? Divisional round. For the record, I haven't brought it up, but I can brag now.
Go ahead.
4-0. I swept them twice somehow. By the way, I'll be the first to say it. Some of those were a little lucky. Some of those, I think, are kind of the way my team is constructed, and it is constructed to beat you. Because I know certain things I can't allow, and my corners are really good, and my DNs are really good. And I just hope Le'Veon either gets hurt or doesn't break big runs. And this divisional round game, I felt a little bit early, like I wasn't getting the breaks, but they weren't like game-changing breaks. They were like, oh, you got 3 points off of that play. I wasn't getting any blocks. Zeke did get hurt, which was annoying, but I was like, Le'Veon gets hurt, so I can't really complain about that too much. You know what I mean? We got to just move on. And you just – it's been to that point where we just played each other so much. We knew what each other was going to do, right, in this divisional round game. From your perspective, what happened?
I was going to that game because I was like, I turn it up in the playoffs. I really get focused for playoff games more than anything. And at least we say, like, I mean, I do say, like, I don't care as much about, which I don't care as much about this league. But to your credit, you, with how many times you beat me, you've gotten me to care a lot more about winning in this league. So with that game there, I was definitely like, I was on my shit. I was ready, and I played some of the best defense I've played in a long time, especially for like, your plays, what your offense is about. It was 17-3 about to go into the fourth quarter, just about to go into the fourth quarter, and third and long, perfect defense again. Earl Thomas misses the interception, goes right to Kelsey. At that point, I'm just like, all right, just shake it off. We're all right. We're just gonna calm down and work. And I ended up stopping you for 3, and I ended up fumbling on the next kickoff, which. Yeah, you got me as I was juking, so I'm not gonna be. That's why I'm not harping on it that much. But that's just Madden has this momentum system. We know this. They got momentum system. You got a momentum shift. It's going like a lot. It's you can feel it, and I felt helpless at that point. And then the play after that ran a stretch, and Madden 20 bounce off everybody and run in. And then just like that, it's a tie game. So I'm pissed off in that situation, but there's nothing really I can do. I just gotta keep playing. But I couldn't keep my frustrations down. I was definitely mad about that, and it led to me going for a 4th down I should not have gone for, and I got shedded by Mac, which it was an emotional call. It was definitely an emotional call. But it happens.
It was death the whole game. The only reason that I was in the game was because anytime I got you to a 3rd and 5, Mac or Nawasu was shedding.
Right.
Mac was, I don't know whatever it was. Maybe he's got some playoff shit or something. That dude, normally he's great on 3rd downs. It's every 3rd down, he's like, we're getting off the field. And obviously, we're 2 really good players. So 3rd downs is really a 50-50 proposition. It really is when we play each other. But this was the one game where I think both of our defenses were just on 3rd down, not letting anything. Because every 3rd down, I felt helpless. I was like, I don't know what to I don't know what to do. And to go back to that pass, I was like, all right, nothing's open underneath. I read it quick, and I was like, I have to try at some point to throw it down the field and see if it's there. It doesn't look like it's there. And by the way, it wasn't. Wasn't there at all. But I was like, whatever, just throw it up. And I throw it to Black Nail. It gets deflected, obviously. And at that point, I'm like, oh man, Madden just gave me a break. Finally. Because the whole game, I'm like, the only thing going right is Khalil Mack. We're not blocking anybody. My defense, the secondary had been okay. But sometimes when we play, my secondary just goes off, right? They just get ridiculous interceptions. This was not happening this game, and you were being much smarter with it. Stole kind of my offense, which is annoying. And you were running a lot of smarter plays, and it was I was getting pissed because I was like, bro, I wasn't pissed, I was annoyed because I was like, damn it, he's playing smart now. He really wants this fucking win. He's not doing the things he's done before. He's running Le'Veon. He's just oh, it's not there. Dump down. Escape artist. Let me get out of here. So the only thing I could do was Khalil Mack. And then when the game was tied after that fumble, which by the way, that was a user hit stick. And the only thing I'm good at really on defense isn't even defense. I think I'm getting really good at switching off and making tackles. But on kickoffs, I'm really good at timing it up because I did it to another guy in the playoffs in a different league. It's the one thing that I'm pretty good at. And I was I need one. And the way that it happened was it was one of those weird 5-on-1 situations, and all of our guys just got right past your guys on the kickoff, and I was like, oh man, And it was just one of those just rare Madden just does that sometimes, and sometimes you guys just fly off on the kickoff, and it was just open, and I was like, well, fuck it, we're gonna try it, and then it just happened. But yeah, I remember that possession, and I was like, is he going for this? There's no way he's actually gonna do this. And I remember you just sitting there, and then you called hike, and I was like, oh shit. And Khalil just instantly again.
Yeah.
Whatever. But then the thing was, I got a field goal because you stopped me. And then you went down the field with a clutch ass drive. And I'm like, fuck. Because it was I got him. I was like, I got him. We got Khalil out here. But that drive, you just re-locked in. And as much as you were frustrated or whatever, you just kept hitting me with this shit. And I was like, I can't stop him. And then you kicked the field goal. Iced and everything. I think it was 50 yards, and I was pissed. We go into overtime. I win the toss, And again, because I really had not been moving the ball very well at all, I get to a 4th down and I make the emotional decision. I'm like, fuck it. And I'm like, you know how I can see the message and everything. Nard is like, punt it, trust Khalil. And I'm like, I can't. I was like, I can't give him, with as good as he is on offense and Mahomes and Diggs, if he gets 130-yarder, the game's over. Like, I can't do that. I was like, my offense, either we're going to fucking lose this game right here or we're going to make a play for the first time all game.
I respect that, putting your own hands.
Yeah. I mean, it's something like, you did it against APO. I think that it's kind of tough because I really feel like the best passers do that. Like, Dez makes those kind of decisions a lot too. And I know I guess I'm not a passer. I'm more balanced. But that's like the one frustrating thing when you're playing a runner is they just always control it and they never have to make those decisions, right?
Exactly.
Like, Gutta made that decision. I forget what playoff game it was, but he was doing that as well. It's like one of those things where you're like, fuck it, I'm going for it. Like, you got to. Yeah. So I go for it, I get it, and then all of a sudden, like you say about momentum, from that point on, my O-line decides we're gonna block, and Boston Scott just starts running wild. And then I've never, by the way, done this before. I don't think I'll ever do it again. Something about on the stretch, I just see everybody go left, and I'm like, wait a minute, and that just stopped, and everyone just overflowed, and I just ran right up the middle, and I was like, wow, that was kind of lucky too. If I'm being honest, I was like, yeah, I've never had run stick like that. Like, I'm pretty good at it, but like that was like, whoa. I think that was like we were both playing at such a level, it was draining. After that, I was like, man. And you saw me. I was in the chat capping. Yeah. Anyone who said anything to me after that game,
you got a cap after that. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I had to. You brought the play as you should have, and I was like, man, no, as I should have, because that was. I really think of the games that year and then the playoffs. I think Dez Gutta topped it, but other than that, as far as like close games, I think that was like the best.
Yeah.
Everything had just led to this point. So entering this season, right? You've had a 14-win year, a 13-win year, and again, you got to the conference championship, made it to the division round. What changes did you kind of make to your team, or what are you going to do this year to try to get over that hump and win that Super Bowl?
Okay, so the defense is the same. I'm sorry?
I said you don't have to give me too much detail if you don't want to.
Nah, this is an interview. I gotta give details.
I know.
I didn't do really anything on defense. I got Shazier upgraded. He's got Lurker now, so that's really the only change I have on defense.
Damn it.
That's the only change I have on defense. So offensively, I traded for Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply because, not simply because, strictly because the only reason I made the trade was because of the routes that Miles got on him. So I was like, you know what, that could be what I need to, because playing you as much as I have, you know what I'm gonna run, you know what I like to run, you know this and that. I feel like with routes I can throw you off a little more, do this and that, just it helped my offense breathe a little bit. So I pulled the trigger on that, and it really didn't cost me too much, since I'm not going too much more seasons. Might be my last season, I don't know, but that's how I thought of it. And another big thing that I'm going into the season, the mentality with, I'm forgetting the quarterback that I have. I have Patrick Mahomes, bro, and I don't use him like Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be used. And Dez, Juan, AJ, they've told me this a lot. I don't use escape artists nearly as much as I need to, and I'm working on that a lot more. You may not like to hear that, but I am working on that a little more. Because I've played in a lot of leagues. I don't have escape artists a lot. I've had escape artists maybe 2 times before Mahomes, so I'm not used to using it. I'm used to like staying in the pocket, making the read, I'm not used to using escape artists, so I'm working on that and getting better at that. So hopefully that's what gets me over the hump, and then just like utilizing the players that I have the way they're supposed to be used.
Yeah, I will say, obviously, the reason that I think escape artists and why I've pointed out so much how it's so important is because of some of the different things that it's not escape artists so much as it's the way that the game kind of changed this year. and where things that you could do last year, you know what I mean, you can't do. And you won 20 Super Bowls, so you know what I'm talking about. And I was pretty good in Premier last year, basically because I got like an undrafted rookie at 81 speed, but that's fast enough to roll out of the pocket and do that playmaker stuff. And you started hitting you with that in the playoffs, and I was like, bro, I don't like this is annoying. I had flashbacks to last year, and I was like, fuck, like what do I do? Because I had the defense on to try to stop that. But if Khalil doesn't get the shed, you know, or Nawasu doesn't get the shed, and you get outside the pocket with the receivers you have. By the way, fuck you, Miles, for giving you Julio Jones. and I'm to be honest, I wasn't worried about Julio until I'm watching the way Dez is using Keenan Allen, because what I have is, and people say I don't use the routes enough, I have Thielen. So he has routes too, but they're in the slot. But Julio has them on the outside, and so does Keenan. So you can call a route and then motion them places, and I can already envision what I'm gonna have to deal with, because I'm watching what Dez is doing with Keenan Allen. He doesn't even have a Mahomes or anything, so that'll be great. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I really, you know, I think that they're kind of right. You play the game more like a structured way, kind of like I do, but with more deep options, right? But sometimes you forget, like, oh shit, like I have this guy who, by the way, can just outrun everybody, throw a fucking dot. And I don't want to give myself too much credit for this, but I really feel like part of that is a little bit because you played me, and I early on was just not gonna let you do that. And I think
you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong at all about that. And I think I'm after the first game, because the first game before that playoff game, the first game we played in this league was the closest that we played.
Yeah, you had the lead late.
Yeah, I was loose. I was calm in that game because you know I felt confident. I haven't felt that confidence. Oddly enough, I haven't felt that confidence going into a game against you since. And I think my biggest problem with games against you, especially, I'm overthinking it. I'm overthinking, oh, what is he gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I have this mindset in my head where it's like, if I fuck up once, that's the game. And that's been messing with my head. But especially in game 2 and game 3, that was what was in my head. I couldn't shake it, and I would throw like an interception, or he would get a agging interception, and it would piss me off to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm harping on that. I'm not in the right mindset I need to be if I want to actually win this game. And I felt like I shook that enough in the playoffs until the Kelsey catch, and then it just went downhill from that.
Yeah. In the playoffs, you were like, I don't think you threw an interception, if I'm remembering correctly.
I did not.
And like some of the games we've played, like you've had 4. I think sometimes you're just like, because of the way that you play, you're like, I'm gonna get this pass in there. I'm gonna get this pass in there, and I'm like, nah, it's not open. And so you've kind of had to come to grips with, okay, that's actually not open, but like, it depends on when, you know what I mean? Like everything. And I think one of the things, because by the way, I feel the same way playing you. Like just because I'm winning the games doesn't mean I'm like, I feel confident. Honestly, I think there's one person in this league who I'm not confident against right now, and that needs to change. But it's more like I have to play like completely focused. Like there are some games you can walk in there and, you know, it's like the second quarter, and you're like, oh, this is still close. All right, this can't be close anymore. You know what I mean? By the way, those games are getting more and more rare. They fuck this shit. And there's something else I want to talk to you about later, involving our division. But one of the things that I found interesting, because I've seen you play some other people, is because it doesn't work on me. And keep in mind, we both, by the way, have top 4 defenses in the league year to year as far as points allowed. So it's not just, it's like our division kind of replicates the NFC East when it's at their best, and it's shit's hard. Our games are always difficult because I'm not getting easy points, and I'm not the best on offense. I'm like middle of the pack, but there are times I'm like, okay, I'm just leading you, and okay, now I'm getting an easy point. I think the first couple times we played, you let up some easy touchdowns, and since then you're like, okay, I know what to do with Kelsey, I know what to do with Thielen, I know, you know what I mean? And it's just like, fuck. Like now,
I know that's the same. I know that's the same with you. It's like when you play, when you play a good user or a great user in your division twice a year, over time, that's gonna just eat at you. That's gonna especially if you're losing, that's gonna eat at you, and like you're gonna feel helpless because it's like, oh, they know, oh, he knows I'm gonna run here, and oh, he knows how to play this and that, like you said. And it's difficult when you play someone as many times as you do, because you just know what to look for every single time, and you got to force yourself to like take things that normally you would, but you're not going to be able to do against a certain guy.
But the interesting thing is when I watch you play sometimes you forget that most people can't play defense like me and whoever the Redskins user is and whoever John is at the time, because your offense can just bomb people for 40 points. Like I've seen it enough to be like, all right, this is why like I always give people shit in the chat whenever they're playing. I'm like, bro, I was a little shocked Mirek was able to stop you for 17, but watching it, I missed the second one, but watching the first one, I was like, he's kind of in control here. Like Lamar is annoying and he can go off, but his defense is I just like the way I know how you think now, and I'm like, he's just waiting to get the ball back one more time. This game's over. Like he's gonna pull out something that Mirek hasn't seen yet, because like we play the long game now because we have to. Like I have to save some shit late in the game if I need it. Yeah. Not even consciously, by the way, just like something I have to just be like really random. And you do the same thing to me. That's how you got the field goal late. And I was like, I can't let you get the ball again because I don't know what the fuck you're gonna call. I think I do, but I'm not sure. But some of the plays that you hit people with when we were doing the Mahomes highlights in year one, like, and people just can't stop it. And I think if you did that a little more against our non-division foes, like, you actually don't even need to because you beat them all anyway, so it doesn't really matter, honestly. Right. You only lose to one person every year. Meanwhile, I'll drop games to anybody, and so whatever.
And that goes, real quick, that goes back to what I was saying, like, after the first game I played against you, and like the second game I played against you, I haven't had, because first season I was compiling a whole bunch of highlights with Mahomes, 50 passes, this and that. I haven't really had that since, and I'm like, I don't think I've had that confidence because I feel like I gotta play a certain way in this game. I gotta practice a certain way in this game to eventually, when I play you, I'm used to it. So it's difficult.
I think a lot of people this year, obviously, it's slanted a lot to the run game, so that's one issue people have. I feel like, and I stand by this. I feel like people's biggest problem with Madden isn't Madden. It's the fact that they're in this league, and because of the way people play, and I think it's just a general thing. People in this chat are really intelligent. If you don't know, because we're not just dealing with like people who are like kids and play the game. We're dealing with some people who are wealthy, who have very good careers. Yeah, I would even say higher end people, like people who've made it out of situations, and they have like, so every kind of game, and they're prideful as well, because we all talk. If you can't handle the talk, you're not going to be here long. Exactly. And so they're all prideful as well. So there's like a thing that turns on, especially when they play someone considered a top level user. So you really can never take like a game off. Like there are other leagues. I know you're in them. I used to be in them. I don't think I'm in any right now. FML's pretty good, so I wouldn't quite say that about it. But there's certain leagues you're like, all right, this is an easy win. Like there's just so much fewer and far between in Premier. And one reason is because this dude Prod left and brought in someone who's really good and annoying. Real quick, how do you feel about Prod leaving and Kyle coming in, Redskins user?
And he brought in a boy with a lot of time on his hands. That's no knock on him. He's young, you play games when you're young. I did the same thing. Yep. But he's good. He knows the game well. He knows how to work it. I feel like his offense is easy to stop. I don't fear his offense. Defensively, I don't even fear his defense all that much, but I fear the players that Prod left him with.
Yes.
I fear the players that Prod left him with, because that they playing like very, very well. Like there was moments in the game I played against him week 1 where it's like I had a seam open with the run game. I had a hole, and Chris Jones throw my center. He got me, or he got Zadarius Smith now. I believe he got that with abilities, X Factor, all that, and he gets off run game too. So it's good player. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I fear his players more than I fear him, and that's you see that a lot in this Madden. It's like you can be a good user, but with higher level players, you can beat a lot more players who may even be better than you. So it's like that's how I feel about him.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree, and you're right, because he beat me the first time we played because I just wasn't ready for Ashley, 98 speed running back. So happy he traded him, by the way. So happy he got rid of him. Just to not deal with that, because he gets a seam and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he's good at, which kind of annoys me because he's young, and Prod did give him a lot of toys to play with, he's good at trades, and so now his team is getting better. And John's team as well is getting, like, they're just two like very loaded teams, and obviously our teams are very good. So it's just like this division is just annoying. And
John did trade a lot of his secondary too. Like he made a lot of trades. So
and it's just like the way he built his team. He's young, but he pays attention to how you win, and he's building because he's got 4 superstar linemen. And I think you don't have problems with them because you have superstar D linemen. So like it's going to be pretty even. But they caused me some issues. And just like, I don't know, just it's very interesting because he's really good he's actually good at building it. Now Prod gave him a great place to start. But he's just taking AJ to the back, just fucking with that Russell Wilson trade. He got so much out of that. He got Chris. That was ridiculous. And then he left. So I didn't even get to play him. So last question. What do you think about just the fantasy league in general? What could be improved on? What do you dislike as opposed to what people are calling regular Premier?
I feel like AJ touched on this in his interview. He said this league doesn't matter to tiers. You know, we're the tiers are set from the Premier before, so we already know like who's gonna get like the who's the top tiers. And I agree with him on that. So it's like outside of, you know, it's a prize league. Outside of that, there's nothing really to play for, nothing to nothing like that's gonna force you or make you want to play. But that, and not just that, but it's also June. I know we're in quarantine, but there's other games. Like I've been playing a lot of Warzone lately. That's taking up a lot of my time with rather than Madden. Like I don't want to play Madden now. Like compared to the middle of the season or like even just last Premiere, where I was locked in. I was like playing Madden heavy. I was winning. I was like I knew what to do and stuff. But this year it's like I still try. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't try. It's just the level of care that I have for this league. It's like I told you to your credit, you've made me care more just because, you know, I don't like losing to people. But you've made me care more, so I've been trying a lot more. But just compared to like last Premiere, there's nothing really to play for. I feel like once we get to Madden 21, we'll rarely remember this league. That's just how I see it. There's nothing really to hold on to.
I think one thing that we tried to do in making it, because we know like it is June, and to be honest, I'm making this entertaining mainly because I don't have anything else to do. So I'm trying to do the YouTube obviously and things like that. The only reason I will say it'll have kind of a legacy is because we're going to continue like the YouTube, and that hopefully down the road, obviously when we do regular Premiere and everything like that, that's going to get again kicked up, skyrocketed, and that'll be fun. Because, you know, we're growing every day. I'm getting better at the editing of it, at the just making of the videos. But one thing that I did want to do, and I think that is making the league, I guess, matter a little bit, because there was a possibility that no one would care at all. I think it was the division makeup. And like you said, me and you being in the same division, Dez and Jacob being in the same division, like those are two like crucial things. A little to a lower degree, Juan and APO, same division, like that's big. I also will give credit to some of the people who joined later. Now the one thing I was completely worried about, right? Like you said, it is June. I wasn't really worried about the people that we have who are good, right? Me, you, Dez, Jacob, Juan, AJ, Nard, Gutta, like APO. Those people are just gonna, if they have the time and they don't have to work right now, they're gonna play the game. It's gonna be competitive because we're just competitive people. What I was worried about was if some of the lower guys, because we just got in for the fantasy league, if they left, how would that, happen? I'm very happy that Mirik has joined. I'm happy that we've gotten other people who seem very interested in the game. It'll make it very interesting when we go to next Madden, who like stays and who doesn't. But I do think that those people being active, that new energy is always needed for Premier. Like you guys brought it, obviously, in regular Premier, because APO made the point, and honestly, the more I thought about it, was a really good one. If you guys weren't around, I don't know how long. I don't know if we make it 7 seasons. I'll say it like that. Because for us, the older guard, who's not you, Dez, AJ, Rod, right? For me, Juan, Jacob, APO, Gutta, Nard, for us, the older guard, like part of it is like we want to beat you guys. You know what I mean? Especially when you guys start capping. You don't do it as much, but Dez definitely caps, and he earned it. He won 2 Super Bowls. He just made one in the fantasy. It's perfectly fine. Yeah. But we still want to beat you. It's that pride getting hit. I think that you're definitely right. It's not hitting quite as much right now, but I still think it matters a little bit. I personally, now obviously another big thing of this goes back like 4 years for me personally, and this has been a long time rivalry between me and Juan. I'm counting this as a ring for Juan because he beat me to do it, but hey, I really think it kind of like evens out. And I want to ask you one last question too. So I'm counting this as 7, and that's like always the other big thing, all right? How does this count historically? What are you allowed to say next year? Oh, I want a ring. You know what I mean? Because there have been times where like it's way too late in the cycle, and we'll be like, that doesn't count. Like, I think Jacob might have won one. No one ever cares because like everyone is retired at that point. But one last thing I want to ask you: how do you like the format of Premier as a fantasy? We're gonna go back to the OG one. We're not gonna do a fantasy. But I'm kind of just interested in how people like feel about the fantasy aspect because I didn't know how this was going to work. And I'm very proud that we're making it 3 seasons. We want to go 4 because the game isn't releasing until in August. So I want to know kind of how you think about it.
Fantasy leagues are great, man. Since Madden 18, I've always been a part of fantasy leagues. The only thing about them, is like a lot of people know this, they don't last very long. They don't, because you get people that draft their teams. If they suck, they leave, and then no one wants to fill that spot. So it's just leagues die fast with that. But I always loved fantasy leagues because I love picking the players that are gonna work for me, gonna fit how I play, and like I like watching how other people work with like who they pair superstars with, this and that. I love that, and it's so when it was a Premier Fantasy, I was all on board with the fantasy because I wanted one that was going to last. I know if any fantasy league is going to last, it's going to be a Premier Fantasy League. So, and now we're in season 3, seeing like how people are working with their teams. Everyone's like getting them upgraded, getting them abilities, this and that, and making trades. A lot of teams looking really good, and like I just feel like having, because we can only go but so long. It's the end of Madden, this and that. We're just waiting for Madden 21 to come out. But if we did one a little earlier next Madden of Premier Fantasy League, I feel like we could go like we did OG Premier 6-7 seasons. I really believe that, and it's that just speaks to like how active the league is. This is one of the better leagues I've been in ever. It's just like nonstop activities. No, the chat's nonstop. You know this.
The chat.
it's good. I feel like if a fantasy league is gonna premiere, is gonna if it's gonna thrive next season, then or next Madden, then Premiere will be the one to do it. And I love that.
I think one of the things that I wish I could show people, but I also don't want to show people because I don't think that the world should necessarily see it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is like our chat. It's the best chat. It's the best group chat. Man.
It is, man.
It's so funny.
It's
Like,
funny. It's rage inducing. Like you get a lot of shit talk. You get a lot of memes. It's literally nonstop. It's all day. So it's a bunch of entertainment.
It's like informative and like during football. I don't know if you were in it during football. You were. You definitely were.
Yeah, that whole playoff, especially in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that what was going on in the Super Bowl, like that was just great. Like it was great stuff. We were joking around, and especially the halftime show, and, and it was a lot of fun, man. I love that.
It's like it really is like a family atmosphere, and like it's like this. That's why I kind of wanted to do the YouTube, right? Is because if there's a way for us to benefit in our little ways, whatever, monetarily down the road, I just think that would be great, and I think everyone deserves a piece of that wealth. We put so much, like this league goes back 10 years, man. There's so many people putting so much effort into this, and I think the fact that we get to highlight it, to show it to other people, to get other people who for some reason care enough to subscribe and watch a random AJ interview, a random Masoon interview, whatever. I just think that that's great, and that's so much fun.
Right, and I love like incorporating YouTube into it. You know, big props to you. You're the one doing it. You're the one editing. And it's cool to watch. Like, especially like if you're in the league, you miss a game, but you really want to see the game, you just come back on it. But yeah, especially like if you got the more you get subscribers and people that outside of the league want to watch, and you could do a whole lot more visual wise and production wise to make it entertaining for them, because you know they're not going to be in the league, they're going to be watching it, but you can like they'll be in the loop of what's going on. Like you could you can just briefly summarize like what's going on between users, this and that, how teams are doing, and like they'll feel like they're in the actual league. I feel like you would be able to do that more as the subscribers get higher, as the views get more. So it's a good thing incorporating YouTube into it.
Yeah, and it's like now that I have the software, it's just a lot of fun as well. And you guys are great enough to everyone streams now. I mean, and it's like, and it gets to the point where if you see it and you're not doing anything, you're like, man, please someone stream something so I'm bored, bro. Like, I mean, mainly quarantine, by the way. Not gonna lie, like, you know, I was working a lot right before it, but like, if there's a good game on, like Des Gutta, I was mad. I missed that yesterday, and I went and I did the highlights today because he saved it, and he obviously he lets me do that. And I was looking and I was watching. I was like, this was a fucking good game. Like and they're always this intense. Is there any last things you want to say before we wrap this up to anyone in the league?
You know, I want to talk to you. Okay, I want to talk to you right quick, because you know you're the thorn in my side, pretty much. You're what's keeping me invested in this league, and I love that. I really do. I love competition, even if I'm getting smacked, you know, 4 times in a row, whatever. 5 times in a row, but it's just I enjoy it. I really do, and I'm gonna get you. Just know I'm gonna get you. But I just know I've grown a lot more respect for you and your game, and I was shitting on your offense, I was shitting on your defense going into this whole league, but you changed my mind. You changed my mind for sure. So that's props to you.
I definitely, on the same notion, I definitely thought you were like maybe a little bit of a product of the team that Prod left, but you fucking did it again. You got 4 superstar D linemen all by yourself, so that's fucking great to deal with. And you're a great user as well. I'm happy you joined. Part of the Premier fam now, man. Awesome.
Yeah, man, I love it. So just only thing I got left to do is, you know, shout out the Chief, shout out Dez, Juan, AJ, my boys, and just I can't wait to go. I can't wait to, you know, finish the season. I wanna win. That's all I want to do.
Right, man. We gotta get to like week 8 or something, man.
Yeah, I need that.
That Giant game. No, why does Madden always set us up to play late? It's irritating because I'm like, I don't want to play him late and have to play and like injuries and shit.
It's always like middle of the season, the end of season. This year it's almost back to back. We play week 8 and then we play week 10.
All right, do quick sweet. So we'll figure out who won the division, and then week 16, week 17, we can both rest our people, and one of us can have the division 1, and the other person can play the NFC North and just beat them by 20. Awesome, sounds good.
And we'll see each other in the divisional round. Oh man.
Awesome, man. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Masoon, for taking out an hour of his day, man. It was great. If anyone else wants to come into an interview, all you gotta do is DM me. That's all he did. Just DM me. He's like, hey, interview. I was like, cool. We do the weekly reviews every 2 weeks now, and then an interview after it, just so people know more about the personalities of the league. So just thank you guys so much. Obviously, we're keeping going, staying active. Until next time.